Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to The Filter. I'm Shannon Burns, and let's get into all the top music news stories of the day. There are so many artists who have been helping in the fight with the Black Lives Movement. BTS announced that they have donated $1 million to Black Lives Matter, which goes to help protesting racial injustice and police brutality in the Black community. Kanye West is another example. He's donated $2 million that'll go to the families of victims who have died at the hands of police, and he even started a college fund for George Floyd's daughter. He was seen also taking part in protests that took place in Chicago over the weekend. Billie Eilish is another example of somebody who left her house this weekend in order to join the fight and the protests that were taking place in LA. It's so cool to see so many different people taking action and also putting money where their mouth is. Speaking of Billie Eilish, she recently did an interview with the UK version of GQ where she talked about the fact that she's never felt physically wanted. She was talking about the fact that she wears baggy clothing, and she said part of the reason that she does so is because when she's dated people in the past, they've never made her feel physically desired. She said it's actually a huge problem where she just doesn't feel wanted by anyone, which I feel like is a very clear example of like how somebody perceives themselves versus how other people perceive them. Because I feel like if any of us were to think about Billie Eilish, we would think of her as like one of the most wanted people out there. But she did talk about her dating life and said that she hasn't found anyone attractive in the last few months, but she's not too worried about that since she's not looking to date at the moment. But when it comes to her baggy clothes, she did say that it isn't something that she sees herself doing forever, and she's already started to dabble in wearing different types of outfits, but she's noticed every time she's done so, she just ends up being trending on Twitter. Although we do have to remember that Billie Eilish is only 18 years old, so she definitely has many years of dating ahead of her. I don't think she should be too worried at the moment. And I think that the thing that's most important here is that whoever ends up dating Billie Eilish better treat her right, because that girl deserves to be protected at all costs. Shawn Mendes announced that he is giving his platform and his Instagram stories to young Black change makers who are on the front line of the fight against systematic racism. He said he wanted to use his platform of 56 million followers in order to highlight stories and information that people can give about the Black Lives Matter movement. And he's not the only one that's doing so. Lady Gaga and Selena Gomez are just two examples of other people who are doing the exact same thing. It's so cool that these people realize that they have such a huge following and a huge audience, and then use that to hand that mic over to people to share their stories and information about huge issues that are going on. Such a great idea. There are so many graduates this year who will not have the opportunity to walk across that stage and accept their diploma with their fellow students, but they are getting some pretty powerful speeches from some pretty powerful people. Artists like Lady Gaga, Shawn Mendes, Taylor Swift, Lizzo, and Beyonce all took part in the Dear Class of 2020 virtual commencement with their own speeches. Beyonce in particular had a very powerful speech all about what it's like to be a Black woman working in a white male-dominated industry. She said, "I had to trust that I was ready, and that my parents and mentors provided me with the tools I needed to be successful. And that was terrifying. The entertainment business is still very sexist. It's still very male-dominated, and as a woman, I did not see enough female role models given the opportunity to do what I knew I had to do. To run my own label and management company, to direct my firms and produce my tours. That meant ownership, owning my masters, owning my art, owning my future, and writing my own story. Not enough Black women had a seat at the table, so I had to go and chop down that wood and build my own table." There are some really encouraging words from not only Beyonce, but other people like Barack and Michelle Obama. I definitely suggest that you check it out, even if you're not graduating. Republic Records is doing something that could change the music industry as a whole. They announced that they are banning the term urban from their label. They said that term is part of an outdated system and structure from the past, and they're encouraging other people in the music industry and other labels to follow suit. The term urban actually comes from radio back in the 1970s, and it's used to describe different music such as R&B, rap, soul, and reggae. So hopefully urban is now a term that is just taken out of our vocabulary altogether, especially when it comes to genres of music. I feel like in the music industry in general right now and moving forward, the lines of different genres are being blurred all the time with new artists and songs that are coming out, and more people are just focused on whether they like a song or not rather than what box it falls into. So hopefully this continues to go in this direction. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of The Filter. Let me know what you think of these stories by commenting down below. I would love to hear from you, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of the latest episodes. You can check out more music news stories by going to our website in the music tab of iHeartRadio.ca, and we'll see you on Thursday for more of The Filter.